All right. I'm going to share my screen. And do we have anybody that would want to read the Bivens for us? Somebody, anybody? Come on, don't be shy.
I will.
Who said that?
Michael Hom in Pennsylvania.
Oh, awesome. Go ahead, Michael. Thank
Okay,
you.
give me a second.
Okay.
Okay. Bevan's decision. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or the municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now, or leave the meeting. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance in today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, council, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bevins decision? Hearing no response.
All right, going once, going twice, 3 times. All right. Okay, thank you so much, Michael.
Welcome.
All right, and I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for logging into the meeting tonight and being a part of this. You know, when I started these meetings, the intent was to pull all of our resources together and really come up with some amazing ideas on how to move our assemblies forward with outreach, you know, how to provide effective outreach that's basically going to convert people back to the land and soil. So, and in doing so, I mean, there's been such amazing talent all across this land on each of our states. And honestly, it's a blessing to be amongst all of you and pulling our resources, our creativity, and our minds together to come up with something that's going to help us all. I do want to say that
recording in progress.
Up in a bit, I think somebody's mic is hot, I think.
Yes, his true identity as Superman. The U.S. government
Don't
seems
know.
to play a significant role.
There's something going on behind. Oh, okay. Thank you. So, you know, we're going to be working on Luis's campaign, but we also have a few other things that we've been doing as well, as far as, you know, helping each other to share content. And I know that there's been a lot of, you know, generous people across the country that have been, you know, uploading things. Vicky, myself, and Bart created the Ice Drive account, but the 3 of us have the access to upload content. In a little bit, we're going to have Bart, once he joins, log into the Ice Drive account, and we'll show everybody what's been uploaded so far. Oh, there you are, Bart. But before we do that, I also wanted to, before we get into business, I do want to say a prayer, if you guys don't mind us starting with a prayer. Dear God, from the light of God that we are, from the love of God that we are, from the power of God that we are, from the heart of God that we are. We decree, we dwell in the midst of infinite abundance. The abundance of God is our infinite source. The river of life never stops flowing, and it flows through us with lavish expression. Good comes to us through unexpected avenues, and God works in a myriad of ways to bless us. We now open our mind to receive our good. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to have happened. With God as our source, nothing amazes us. We are not burdened by thoughts of past or future. One is gone, the other is yet to come. By the power of our belief, coupled with our purposeful, fearless actions and our deep rapport with God, our future is created and our abundance made manifest. We ask and accept that we are lifted in this and every moment into higher truth. Our mind is quiet. From this day forward, we give freely and fearlessly into life, and life gives back to us with a fabulous increase. Blessings come in expected and unexpected ways. God provides for us in wondrous ways for the work that we do. We are indeed grateful, and so it is.
That was beautiful, Tammy.
Thank you. So getting on to our business tonight, I wanted to go over some old business. I want to make sure that everybody has the link to the Telegram page. I included that on the agenda. And if you're not on the email list, on the contact list, please put your email address. If you wish to be on the email address, put your email in the chat, and I'll make sure to add you to the email list. That's where I send the link for the meetings, and I send the updates and the agenda and anything like that. I also try to include everything that I send in the email on the Telegram page as well. But in case you don't get the, you either have one choice or the other, but I usually get all the information in the email. The email is probably the best way to go. And then I'm going to let Bart, if you don't mind, sharing your screen and showing everybody the Ice Drive account and maybe walking us through the process of how we get that content.
Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got to figure out how to show. There it is. There's the big button. Okay. All right, tell me when you guys can see this. See it all right?
No, we see Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so what I've done, I wanted to show you where this address is. So if you go on to our Telegram page, TASA Outreach Think Tank, May 25th is when I made that, that's when I put the 2 links on there. So we have the new members education folder, and we also have the TASA Outreach Think Tank folder. So when you click on either one, especially the Outreach Think Tank, which is the main show for us, it'll take you here to iStrive. And you don't need to have a password or an account. You just get straight on and you have download access. And we have it divided out. I think Vicky organized this, right? So we've just been uploading it. So anytime you send, if you find information that you think the rest of the outreach committees would really benefit from, then you can send it to me or Tammy or Vicky, and then we will upload it onto any one of these folders for you. So here's one folder called One Page Outreach, and these are just a bunch of one-pagers that you can take and you can modify. You can use them as is, or you can modify them for your purposes. Just lots of little information, creative things. Couple of taglines that I've worked on. One of them was, we're looking for a few good people. I thought that was pretty cool because that's what we are. We're people. If you go to another folder, let's see, slide presentations. If you have a slide presentation PowerPoint that you are using and you think other assemblies would benefit from it, and this is more on the education too, but you know, education and outreach kind of overlap a lot, then send it to one of us and we'll upload it here and everybody else can use it. I've already we created a video called How to Correct Your Status, and a lot of people found it pretty useful. So I put the PowerPoint slide presentation on here. So anybody can use that if you want. You just modify it for your purposes, and you can make your own video too, because ours is particularly for Oklahoma, but it is helpful. So I have other presentations. We're working on a big presentation for probably late August in Oklahoma. And so I'm working on that one, parts 1, 2, and 3. And when I finish that, I will post it there on the slide presentations as well. Anybody can use it. And then here's stuff that we have in Oklahoma. We don't have a lot actually on the Oklahoma folder right now, at least. Then there's the trifold brochures. We're gonna, let's see. Yeah, Oregon put one in here. There's a lot of useful information. And then there's also, let's see, one-page outreach. I wanted to point this out, back to the one-page outreach folder. So 2 of them, one of them is Did You Know? I'm trying to remember who created that one, but I've used that. I've modified it for our purposes because we're going to start an email campaign, which is a lot cheaper in the near term. Obviously, we're really looking forward to the postcard campaign, but we're going to do an email campaign because we can buy a whole bunch of addresses for a particular county and then start emailing them, you know, multiple emails. So I'm going to start off with Did You Know? And I'll have a really broad, you know, beginning, and then second, third, fourth email, I'll go into different, as long as I can keep it into one 8.5 by 11, you know, PDF. That's what each email will be. And then we're also going to use another one, which is What is the Assembly, down here, where I'm going to read through that and see if I like it. And we'll probably be emailing that to the same people. So that's how Oklahoma is using this. But here's some video links as well. But that's what we got so far. I did make a little snafu. I got all excited. And whenever I was creating, because out here on the ice drive, if you go one folder out, I have the Oklahoma Jural Assembly, and I posted because Ohio had graciously shared a lot of their files with us, right? So we've been systematically going through those and learning them so that we can figure out what we're going to do in Oklahoma. But I got ambitious and I said, oh, I'll just put it on the ice drive, you know, but I didn't ask for permission. So, so Lisa made me aware of that. And I think, Tammy, you removed them. So I appreciate that. But I wanted to make people aware of that some assemblies like Virginia, they're sharing everything at least associated with their outreach and their website. But other assemblies have particular, you just really need to check. That's my point. You've got to check and say, hey, can we use this? And maybe they'll say no, or maybe they say, yes, you can use it as long as you make it your own. But it's always good to check before you get excited and post something like I did. So that's all I have for now. Any questions about how to use it?
I just wanted to say, you know, if anybody has material that they want to upload, you could just send it to Bart, Vicky, or myself. And I believe I'll continue to include all of our email addresses in the email when we send, you know, the agendas and that sort of stuff, so that you guys have it and you have a reference to go back to. I wanted to ask Bart, if you wouldn't mind, since you had the link for the ice drive account on the Telegram page, would you mind pinning that? Could you pin it so that they don't have to, you know, we don't have to go back to May 25th and keep scrolling?
I will do that right now.
Yeah. And so, you know, for those of you who are unfamiliar with how Telegram works, if you click on the name of the group, it'll take you to another screen that'll allow you to look at pinned messages. And we'll have that pinned.
Here, I'll share it with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. So I just right clicked on this little guy here, and then I've already pinned it. But then, yeah, if you go up to the, let's see, how do you, well, I say that.
I think
There it is. There it is.
Go.
So then you go over here to, you got media, and then you got files. And then you've got the files that have been pinned. So there you go. For those of us.
I think too, on your phone, when you're looking at it on your phone, I think it'll show a little note underneath saying there has been a message that's pinned. So, all right. Anybody have questions on that? Okay. I did want to mention, I've been getting quite a few emails, people reaching out and telling me some of the stuff that they're doing on their state as far as outreach goes and just asking questions and different things. It's actually really fun to be able to connect with so many different states. And so, I love that personally. But you guys probably know of this. I know on our state, we weren't informed of this, but Nikki Isaacs on Nevada, is she here tonight? She said she was going to try to hop on, but she didn't think she'd be able to make it. She had something else going on. But in any case, I told her I'd plug it for her. Nikki Isaacs on Nevada, she is creating a handbook. And it's a handbook as a guide to your life as an ASN, kind of some of the struggles that some of us have on our states, like dealing with traffic tickets, and if you've had your kids taken away, things of that nature. She's putting a book together with different resources and processes and things like that. And so I don't know when that's going to be out. I think it's coming to an end with the editing soon, from my understanding. But I told her at any, maybe the next time, if she, once it's all done and she wants to present it on our meeting, to kind of blast it out. I know she's in contact with coordinators, but on our state, it wasn't reported to us. So, and I don't know if there's other states out there that are unaware of it as well. But this outreach think tank would be a good opportunity to kind of, market it for her, if you will. And then the last thing that I wanted to say before we get onto the postcard campaign project is the Arizona Assembly. How many is on the Arizona Assembly here tonight? Got Kathy on Arizona, but is Kelly Erickson on tonight? Anyway, so Kelly Erickson is the Arizona Outreach Committee Chair. And she sent me an email and she posted it on the Telegram page. Their state is doing a radio ad. And, did you guys happen to hear that at all? I'll play it for you for tonight so you guys can hear it. It's only a 30-second, but the guy that did this, his name is Woody Woodson, and he's actually a professional television and radio broadcaster. And so he is offering to do ads like this for all of our states at no cost. And so I just wanted to play it for you. I'm going to play it from my phone. Let me know if you can't hear it.
This is an international public notice by the ArizonaAssembly.org. You may have an inheritance waiting to be claimed as a land and soil American, honoring living in peace and abundance, possibly including an ancestral and financial inheritance of real rights and assets you may not know you have, likely just waiting for you to claim them. Learn more about American State National at thearizonaassembly.org. Music by Mr. Smith for FMA.
That's it.
Can you play it
So,
one more time?
yeah, sure. But that is, I think that ad, I think she said it was being played today. And so hold on, sorry, let me pull that up. All right, you ready? There it goes.
This is an international public notice by the ArizonaAssembly.org. You may have an inheritance waiting to be claimed as a land and soil American, honoring living in peace and abundance, possibly including an ancestral and financial inheritance of real rights and assets you may not know you have, likely just waiting for you to claim them. Learn more about American State National at thearizonaassembly.org. Music by Mr. Smith for FMA.
So it's quick, but to the point, sounds professional. And wouldn't that be great if we could get that on all of our radio stations all across, all of our states? That would be great. So I did want to put that out there. Again, her name is Kelly Erickson, and she's on Arizona. So, and I know we have, I think there's Kathy, I think there's Dave on Arizona. Do you guys know about this? Do you want to say anything about this? All right, well, if you change your mind, I know some people are, a little shy to speak, but any case, it's really awesome to hear that. My envision is that we're going to have billboards all across our country. We're going to have radio announcements, news announcements, postcard campaigns, meet and greet, and all sorts of amazing things. I see that in our future. So anybody have anything else they'd like to say before I hand the stage over to Luis and we can start, going at this postcard campaign? Kalina, go ahead.
How would we get a hold of Woody Woodson?
So from my understanding, it would be through Kelly Erickson.
Okay.
Okay, and I can ask her, if she's not on here tonight, I can ask her if I could share her email address, because I'll do that when I send the recording of this out. But I'll check with her first.
Beautiful. Thank you. It was
You're
great.
welcome.
It was a great ad.
Yeah.
Kalina, this is Kathy. I'm on the Arizona Outreach Committee. And if you send me your email address, I will get it to Woody.
I appreciate that, Kathy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I yield.
Thank you, Kathy. And we have Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, regarding the email campaign, the first thing that came to mind for me was what about getting permission, that is opting in. We don't want to be spamming people or getting.
No,
So-
no, because wait. Okay, you left the message on the phone. Yeah.
So I guess I'm not fully understanding your question. What do you mean permission for what?
The email campaign of that, what was the name? Bart earlier said that we're gonna have email lists for the county, for people that, but there needs to be, it needs to be opt-in some kind of way, or using, in other words, we should not just be getting names out of a telephone book and emailing people at random or something, because we don't want to be spamming people.
I can
Oh, I
speak
see
to
what
that.
you're saying. Okay, Bart, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so I've been working with a man named Brian Bruce he's got a lot of, on our assembly. He's got a lot of experience with outreach and advertising. So what sellers do is they purchase email lists for, like, it depends on the size of the email list and the demographic, but people they make purchases or online, and some people do it accidentally, but some people do it on purpose. I mean, I've done it plenty of times on purpose. And you check the little box and it says, I would like to receive information on such and such. So what happens is your email goes into this big river of emails and all sorts of channels. and then those companies resell your email address. Now, a lot of people don't like this because because sometimes email addresses are taken from them when they didn't think that it was going to happen. But the idea is that whenever you purchase these email addresses, let's say it's 1,000 email addresses, and let's say they're all in your particular county, and they're people who are all interested in politics, or they're interested in emergency preparedness, or whatever topics. There's like a whole slew of topics they could have checked. And so you send it out to that email distribution list. You send your email to the distribution list, and then it sends it out to all those people. And you always have at the bottom opt out. You give them that option, and then they'll receive it. Who knows? Maybe half the emails will get lost in people's spam. I really don't have any expectations for it, but it's a step in the right direction, because there are people that really do want that information. And as long as you give the opt out, option, I mean, I think that's the best practice if you're going to email people, because there is a large group of people that don't consider it spam, and they really are glad that you reached out to them and sent them an email. And so the reason why I like it is because, number one, Brian's really good at this, and he knows where to find these email lists and how to vet them and figure out what we're getting for what we're paying for. But it's a lot cheaper also in the near term. And of course, none of this is a consideration really once we have access to prepaid credit, I'm presuming. So, but in the near term, I only have a fixed budget that I can spend, and the assembly, we have some money, and so we're trying to figure out how do we start our outreach, because we're still in the infancy of our outreach. So this email campaign is really our first step into getting out there and actually writing emails and sending them out to people, and then they'll reach out. I'm going to give them our outreach specific email. I'm not going to use the TASA email address, because we've been having issues with that. So I have a Proton email address associated with the Oklahoma Outreach Committee, and then we'll start receiving those emails, and then we'll start to get some momentum. So I hope that answered your question. That's all I had.
Well, I'm curious, Bart. Maybe I'd love to hear how that email campaign goes, and if I think all of us are looking for how do we get the best bang for our buck. Like you said, right now we don't have our prepaid credit, so we've got to be good fiduciaries of our money, and how it's spent wisely. So yeah, keep us posted. I'm sure others are going to want to hear how that goes.
Definitely. Yeah. If anybody's got a question, just drop a question in Telegram, and I'll tell you everything I know. It's really not that complicated. If you find someone who is familiar with advertising, they will be able to explain it to you in 2 minutes. And they're like, oh, let me do this for you. And they'll go off and here's a list. Would you like to pay $500 for this? And you're like, okay, yes, we will.
Yeah, I think what I'm referring to is if you spend the money and you're doing that email, campaign, right? How many people do you get that respond to it? And then how many people out of those are coming to your, asking more questions?
Okay.
How many people out of those are you converting to, back to the land
Right.
and soil? That I think would be great to know,
I will keep you in the
get
loop.
that far.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Anybody else? Any more questions? All right, going to hand the stage over to Luis. Go ahead, Luis.
Tammy, may I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Sorry, I was trying to catch you just before you handed it off. There is Contact Manager, where you could actually take and import those email lists, and then based on what happens with that email, it can give you feedback on how many of those emails were opened, how many of the links inside the email were clicked, and how many did they go to the website, what the outcome is. It would be an email contact manager would be what you're looking for.
Wow, thanks. That's helpful. Thanks, Phil.
Sales guy. I yield.
Okay. All right, Luis. You got to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Ah, there you are.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. I was trying to get ready while she was getting ready to pass it on, but I realized the things that I put in the chat was to someone directly, and I was supposed to put it in the chat to everybody. So tell me if you can see that document says think tank meeting.
Yes, it's on there.
It might be the wrong one.
It's in the chat.
And you see the two think tank meetings, download the second one. The first one is the one that we sent out with the blast. And the second one, which I didn't mean to put in there this time, but mistakenly I did. The second one is the think tank meeting revised version that I'm going to be using here today. So we're going to be walking through the second one. So download that second one. So I think I got the think tank meeting notes, and then should be two other documents. It has a number 1 in front of it. I don't see it there. And then a number 2 in front of it. Number 1, think tank, the American government, and number 2, PKTF, county sheriffs.
Luis, are you planning to share your screen tonight?
Yeah, so I was just,
okay.
I can't share and click and put all that stuff in the chat at the same time. All right. Can you all see my screen now? Let's see. Screen. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. This is the document we're starting with. You can download that from the chat. So when we left off, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to try to get through the whole outline, tell everybody what it is that that we can volunteer for, and then as I'm going through it, I would like for you to put your name and the thing you want to volunteer for in the chat as we go along. Tammy will collect it. So we can kind of move through as quickly as possible so I can say everything. And then at the end, we can have questions. And caveat, I'm going to say again, these are my inspirations. So I'm open to anybody else adding in, changing, offering those suggestions at the end. So last meeting, I said that I was going to ask the PKTF about phase 3 capitulation tour, which I did. Is Joe on the call?
I am, Luis, yes.
Okay, since he's on the call, I'm going to let you hear it from the horse's mouth to let you all know what their response was to capitulation tour and the project. Joe, do you mind?
We're excited. I guess that's about as I can sum it up. Plenty of things to say about that, Luis. Great work. We're at the ground level with all of this and deciphering potentials. But I'm traveling down the road right now, so I can't really concentrate fully. But to answer to your question, yes, we're tracking everything that you're putting forward, as well as all the other assemblies. So, was there something specific you needed, Luis?
Nope. Okay. I just wanted them to hear what the response was when I went and talked to Joe about the project in full. Now, he didn't have chance to go into all the other details that we've been sharing back and forth since, so I'm going to go ahead and share it now. They asked if they could be the umbrella to the whole project. I said yes. They asked if I could lead the project and as the affiliate director of the PKTF. I said yes. I said yes, let's get this going. So that's what the going plan is right now. Now 24 hours passed and I realized what I just said yes to. I started to think to myself, well, if less than 10 people can take down a governor in a little small town like us, what can 50 assembly resources do to stand down 50 governors in their state? So I thought, well, what did we do back then that we can implement now? So I don't remember back then. So I had this thought, it said, Google it. You know how you want to answer to something and you get that thought, well, Google it. Well, that didn't make sense. But when I started to go to Google it, the thought said, well, go back and look at the news articles that you all had back then and try to see exactly what you all did and see what you can use, what strategies and things you can use from there. So which I did, and I found some articles of what we did back then. So I'm going to attach it to the replay that Tammy's going to send out. I'm not going to go through all of it here, but some of those strategies that were used then, I think we're going to be able to use now, but also some additional strategies I think we can use because we're in a different position altogether than what the citizens were back 20 years ago. And I listed some of those strategies here. When I talked to the PKTF, I thought of pre-demand diplomacy tactics to use. Yeah, I hear that live mic. Pre-demand diplomacy tactics to use, which is what I was sharing with Joe that I didn't share with you all yet. But in one of the documents that I uploaded to the chat, it's going to talk about phase 3 only, and it will have some of those ideas in there, but I'll be going through some of those in detail with the phase 3 group. But one of these things on here, it says bridging to Trump's following using familiar language, prophecies, and military strategies. Well, I'm gonna give you an idea of some things. I know people don't want to talk about Trump, but I'm gonna give you an idea of what I mean by bridging to what things he was saying. Now, this is a postcard, not a postcard. This is a flyer idea that I had gotten. It's not developed or anything. I'm going to need some professional help on this to design it. But if you look at it, the idea here is, it says, announcing the resurgence of the American government after 160 years of dormancy, declaring our independence 2.0 county tours from 2024 to 2028. That's the window that I'm thinking of. On the left, I have the White House, the military flag, the Trump tossing off that ball, if anybody know about that ball, those tactics there, and then the seal with the round circle, meaning we delegated them power. So what Trump said in his inaugural speech in 2016 is the statement above. It says, transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people, is what he said. So to the right, I have James Belcher, the Independence Hall, our civil flag, and our sovereign seal. And under here, I have hereditary head of state of the United States of America, of the people, by the people, for the people. So you see the play in the relationship there. And then at the bottom, my idea is to put all the counties that we are planning to visit, the governors that we're planning to visit, all the 50 counties, 50 states there on the flyer. And this is a flyer that I'm thinking of creating for all 50 states. It'll be the same flyer, nothing different, that we can use in posting and advertising and things like that. But that's the idea of using the tactics and the strategies and the things that they're using and turning them back on them. That's my idea when it comes to that. So moving on to ask for 5 volunteers. Now on my outline, I have yellow highlights and I have red circles. The yellow highlights are just the things that I've added to this document since you received it in the email blast. These are things that I added since that. The red circles is where I'm going to be asking for volunteers. If you want to volunteer for that particular thing, put your name in the chat and what state you're on, that would be helpful, and your email, and say what thing you want to volunteer for. Now, this number 1, I'm looking to put together a strategy task force. This strategy task force will be made up of different categories of people. Our job and our focus is going to be to get 50 county assemblies standing and seated, get 50 state assemblies seated, get 50 county Supreme Courts by the end of 2028. and get our American government recognized across the country by our subcontractors on all levels, federal, state, county, and city. It's going to take some strategizing to do that. So I'm looking for particular people who's experienced and or interested in grassroots activism, community organizing, and military ops and tactics. Anybody who want to volunteer there for that, put your name in the chat. The next point here, I'm going to go over the implementation guides. So I thought I needed to put together one document guide of all the things that I put into the whole project. So I put together 2 implementation guides. Those are the 2 that I put in the chat. I'm going to show them to you here. This first one here, let me move this. Can I move this? I don't know how to move that. The first implementation guide, you'll note I changed the name. I like this name better. If you all got a better name, just give me your ideas. I called it the American Government's Resurgence Project. This is the whole implementation guide for all 6 of the phases. It's a grassroots nationwide outreach project of which the mission is to restore the sovereign governance of America, of the people, by the people, and for the people, in recommitment to our founding document, the Unanimous Declaration of Independence of 1776. This one is for the think tank, particularly because we're the task team for this whole project. So all 6 phases is in here. I want you to pay attention particularly to the project goals. I'm not going to go through it here right now, but you'll have it attached. You have it there. You'll be able to go through what our project goals is in general for the whole project. And I tried to make this as user-friendly as possible. If you click on things, you'll be able to get through the document a little easier. So that's the first implementation guide that I put together. And then the second one that I put together is specifically just for phase 3. This one, I made this one for the PKTF because we're going to talk on a different level with this one. It's our demand to stand down strategic operation. That's what I called it. And again, I added some things to this particular phase 3. It's now in 3 tiers as opposed to 1 capitulation tour. It has two other tiers to it now, but they're all there. So go over that because I didn't share that with you last time. And it also, you can click on things and get through it much easier with me organizing it like that. So those are those 2 things, implementation guides that I've created. The volunteers needed document that we had, didn't mean to hit on that. The documents, the volunteers needed guide that we had, I made some changes to it. It's highlighted in yellow. This will be attached to the replay. So you can look at the changes that I made here in yellow. One of the changes that I made that I just wanted to point out is the capitulation tour is pushed back to February 2025. I realized that I made it the same time as the tours for the assemblies, but logistically that doesn't even work. So the tours for the assemblies have to come first so they can get their shares before we do the capitulation tour. So a few things in there I changed. And so you can take a look at that. All right. So the next thing, because these documents are so long, and Joe asked me to do this too, is to do a video of what's in the whole project. So I'm going to do that for the 6th phase project. I'm going to do a whole video, probably in different parts. And then for the phase 3 by itself, it's going to be a single video. I think I'm going to do phase 1 and 2 as one video, phase 3 as one video, phase 4 and 5 as one video, and then phase 6 as one video. So that's coming. I'll work on that so that it can make things more systematic and we can follow it better. New developments. So I've created some different things to put on the website because of now the Peacekeeping Task Force is involved and I'm in a different position. I want to utilize the website a little differently. So I'm going to go to the website and tell you the things that I've changed. Here under the missions tab, I got a missions tab, Mission 2028. I expressed how 2028 is a critical moment. I'll have to explain more about why I think that in a series of these trainings and discussions, but Mission 2028, things I want to get done by 2028. That's why I called it Mission 2028. This is going to be a particular document called Your American Government Speaks. And I want it to be on this tab. And this is to lay down the reality of our situation as the subcontract, as the American government subcontracting out to the United States government, and how all this has what our predicament is and what we're going to do to restore our government. I haven't gotten this to Anna and she hasn't reviewed it yet. But this is right now just idea phase. On this document, you can see how I laid it out, where I have all of us here, even the 50 states. And you see what the 50 states are. I'm going to need each state's logo to go on here. And it starts off, it says, they told the world that our lawful American government was missing, an interregnum, absent, presumed lost, as confirmed repeatedly by Karen Hoods and reported by the American Native delegates at the United Nations. That is a lie. So we render all three branches of the federal government incompetent. This is one of Anna's articles. I thought that's how we would lead into introducing ourselves. And if you notice anything most things that I write is a copy and paste because I don't know enough to wing it. So I try to use as much verbatim that she has when I write things or put things on this website. But she hasn't seen this yet. But this is the idea for this particular page is Mission 2028. And you can see the rest of this down here. Your American government is on a mission to empower every American to be a self-governing sovereign in their own right. We will rescue every American from the sea and air jurisdictions and bring them back home to the land and soil jurisdictions by placing their declaration of political status on the public record. With full cooperation from our employees, the United States governmental service providers, by 2028, we can complete the transfer of power from their foreign control to us, your lawful Republican American government. Any other presumptions will be deemed criminal intent. That's just my thoughts. So we'll see how that develops. And then this word transfer, I used to say transition, but I changed it to transfer because Trump said he's transferring power from Washington, D.C. to you, the people. So that's why I use the word transfer. So some of these things that I say, I do have a reason for saying them, and I'll bring it to your attention. Some things I just think or inspired to say, and I'll let you know that too. And at the bottom of this whole declaration, it's going to talk about all the things, all the topics that we need to educate the public about, that the government, United States government, has been lying about. And then we got a list of demands down here, and I call it our one fell swoop list of demands of what we are going to demand of the United States subcontractors to do. And that's listed on here. And then at the bottom, we got all of our head of state, federation, and all those names down there. And at the bottom down here, Joe, I like to put the liaisons down there. But we'll see. That's my idea. That's one tab that I changed on the website. The other tab that I changed or updated, I should say, is our declaration. Remember the declaration that we talked about what to call it and everything? Well, this is the name I came up with. Our recommitment to the Unanimous Declaration of Independence, 1776. That's the title I changed it to. And then I added some things to it. The Declaration of Peace and some of the other things are added there to it too. And those are the only couple of things that I added. The public laws are in there too. That's the other things that I changed in the declaration. Now, one thing I need on this particular page, these numbers right here, I just posted it there to get you all the idea of what I was looking for this page. The three categories is American state nationals, the federal, state, local dual status officials, the federal, state, local dual status employees. These are the people that we want to recommit to the declaration. I need a web developer to code this for me. That's on the list of volunteers. So as we get to that point, Anybody who's a web developer or can refer me to somebody who I can pay to do it, I'm gonna need that. I think that's, oh, and then the other thing, the 1776 union.tv. This is the idea here for the TV platform. To start off, I thought to start it out with a library. The library, I said, we will compile on our truth library the most accurate and reliable information we can find on various topics about which our society has been misinformed or frankly deceived. No propagandized lies, no gaslighting, no dumbing down the public, no miseducation, no censorship, no fake news. So I thought that we would start with the web TV by starting off with the truth library until because the web TV is going to be a grandiose thing and we're going to need time to build that. But for here, we can go on the web, and I know a few people that I think are experts and truth tellers in certain topics, and you may know it too, that we can link out to their particular websites in the truth library. And this will be like a source for people to come here and read about different topics that that the US government been deceiving us about. That's how I thought we would start off with the web TV platform. So those are, and this is basically what I'm envisioning that the platform initially will be like. It's just like this. So we have to fill it out. Okay. All right. Now the postcards. New postcard 6.25 by 9 required for every door direct mail. Well, I went to Staples to try to ask them the price of what the postcards would be to mail out, and come to find out, they said I can't do every door direct mail with 4.6 4 by 6 postcards. I have to use this size. 4 by 6 postcards are for direct mail, which you can do by zip code, but you can break it down to like only residential, only people over 45, only males. You know, you can do direct mail with the 4.4 4 by 6s, but you can't do every door direct mail with the 4 by 6s. So I have to create a new card. I think we're going to still use the 4 by 6s for people who want to do that type of mailing, because not everybody want to do the same type of mailing anyway. And those would be easier to hand out to people too, the smaller ones. But the 6 1/4 by 9, I had to create a new card. And on this new card, here it is. This is an idea. I thought it'd have that same feel as the Mission 2028 website. And what I'm trying to do is build familiarity with who we are and what we're about. And when they see us, they don't see one little assembly, they see 50 of us. So that's the image that I'm trying to project to the world, that we're not, you know, that we are 50 in full force is my motto. For this card though, I need everybody's logo to go on there. So this is the new 6 1/4 by 9 card. And then the Peacekeeping Task Force says that we could use their return address on them. And let me show you the rest of them. If I can move this out my way. Oh, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. This is the back of it. So everything else really stays the same. It's just bigger words. And then here is the other cards you can use based on whatever printer you decide to use. Some of the printers for 4 by 6 cards will want it designed different ways. So I just designed it different ways. The back is the same for all of them, but the different looks like this for the cards. Yeah, and that's we have 5 different types for the 4 by 6 cards and 1 type for the 6 1/4. Okay. Let me move that. So that's what's changed with the cards. Now in the implementation guide here, there are I have all kind of designs, I mean, not designs, all kinds of retail companies that you can purchase from, and the ideas of pricing and things like this from these companies. So this will help us identify and research which companies we want to use. Now the flyers and the posters. Now the flyers can also be used as posters, but also that poster that I just showed you at the beginning, I like to make that a big poster and everybody be able to use. So I came up with an idea for flyers. This is the idea for a flyer that I came up with. With those particular items I said that we would want to put in there: the announcement, the declaring our independence, the restoring our soil jurisdiction, and your logos, 2 logos. And this is a particular one with our officers. This is my example for Ohio. And then the discussion points, there's our flag. And those are the different items in your QR code. These are the different items I think need to be on your flyer. Of course, you don't have to use this flyer, but this is to give you an idea of the flyer idea that I had, and what you can do to create your own flyer. Or I'm willing to customize this one for your assembly if you like. And here's some other ideas. Only on this one is just the framing change, that's all. And then on this one, this is more, you can see that background that says the change in the back at the header. That has some opacity lightened up so you can see that better, but it's the same one. And then this one is a lighter one because a lot of people like color, and this is a lighter one. And then some people, depending on your logo, this logo for Ohio is black, but the other logo for Ohio is white. So depending on your logo, it will determine which type of background you want. So that's why I was doing those different ideas. Now I asked Vicki with her creative self to come up with something more colorful, because I just look too black and white. So here's hers. So she's got some colors in there. People who like colors, we can use these types, and she's already volunteered that she's willing to customize these for your assembly as well. And this image here of the building, we want that image to represent Independence Hall. So we're going to see if this pretty much looks like that. I looked at the picture, but we might, make that more look like Independence Hall, or maybe use that one. Then she got some more variations. We got these here. These here, just a different shade in colors. And I'm sure if you like some different colors, of course, this one is really colorful. So if you want to design your own, this is the idea that I had behind the posters and flyers, or you can make your own. All right. All right, so working with the Peacekeeping Task Force, I wanted to bridge the 2 groups together, the think tank and the state liaisons. So I want 10 volunteers from the think tank who would like to match up with a liaison to try to accomplish the list of things here for each assembly who have agreed to be part of the liaison service. I know not all assemblies are yet, but we have at least 25, I think Joe said the number was. So partnering together to make sure that each of those assemblies get their packages. And these are the packages. You're going to compile and deliver 2 proposals to the assembly that's signed up for the liaison service. You and the liaison is going to make sure they get this and get all updates as the project go along. In the proposal 1, which we want to have completed by September 2024, is going to have these list of things in there. I'm not going to go through one by one, but whoever volunteers for that, we will go through all this and make sure they have all the materials that I just said here today, and even some more maybe. Yeah, some more. I can see some more that I haven't talked about yet. that's going to go in proposal 1. And I call it proposal because nobody has to do it. They're a sovereign nation, but we want to provide the service to them if they want to do it. And then the second proposal will have these things in it. And this second proposal will will be needed for phase 3. And we want to have this completed by January 2025 to give to the assemblies. So anybody who wants to volunteer for the postal, to be partnered with a liaison for the 10 post districts. Let me see what it is. I'm go to they little thing here. Where, oh, it's in this one. So you can get an idea. Let me go back up there. Reference maps. Oh, it says page 9, didn't it? Let me go back. Page 9. Page 9. So here are the postal districts. So we get 10 people. That means you're volunteering to oversee getting the information to all the states within that color. So some of you I know are here just for your state, and that's, you know, and that's what you were here for. So I'm just asking for volunteers who want to be here for more than one state. If you're interested in doing that, put your name in the chat. And that's what that particular we need volunteers for. I want to give you an update working with Anna to get the docs approved and finalized. She has started to work back with the document. She's got the postcard approved. We've got the brochures approved. We've got, we're working on the video presentation on the website. We're working on those PowerPoints now to get those approved. We got the preface of the detailed research. She's reviewed that and approved the preface, and she's reviewed section 1 of the detailed research, and that one's done. So the rest of that, that's where we are with that. If we will make September 2024, I don't know, but I hope. But we're working on that. The documents for you all to be able to download, body be able to download will be on the ICE drive, and I'm trying to get a space on the PKTF website for the project, and you'll be able to download things from there. Now, here are the different tasks, and my battery is getting low. Let me move over here. Here are the different tasks. So I know you'll have to think about some of these things to see, you know, which ones you want to volunteer for, because I know we got so many people who are excited and ready to go. And I know you won't be able to do everything, even though you want to. So you might have to pick and choose which one you want to get involved with. So here we go. Now, in the implementation guide, you'll see that I broke up or I separated out the task into task teams. And there's like 9 task teams. I'm not going to read them to you right now, but I'll refer to them so that when you have your implementation guide out for the think tank, you'll be able to go back and see what that task team is really focused on. So these tasks here for the website development, that's task team 1. We need a video voiceover. Now, Margaret did volunteer to do that. And then we have Woody who volunteered to do that. So I know we got 2 people who's volunteered to do the voiceover for that video on the site. We need a website designer for the Truth Library. If you're able to design websites, not necessarily coding, but how those pictures are laid out, I need somebody to go find the information, put it there, and put the names and things on the page and lay the page out nicely and fill it out. But I also do need a WordPress website developer for the library so that people will be able to search it by author, website, topic, and website meaning the name of their website, by topic and category. A developer is going to have to do that for us. I'm not a developer. I am a designer, but I'm not a developer. I don't code. We need a librarian for the Truth Library. Somebody who wants to go out there and find the information and vet the information and see if we want to support it and link to it. Also part of the Truth Library, or the library in general, the library section is going to have a 528 Hertz music library. It's going to have a government archives library. those were the documents that maybe we can get from Anna, or go find of the information and the sources that she uses to put her notices and articles together, can go into our government archives library. Then the kids library. All of those are our library that I want to go on our web TV platform. The next one here is those counters, the numbers on that page with the declaration. We're going to need a developer to code that, because I don't know how to do that either. So anybody who can code can do that one. I'm asking for some help for that. Branding idea. I'm going to throw this idea out. We don't need anybody to do anything with the branding idea, but I want to throw it out there. I was thinking that maybe we all as an assembly can get a domain that has the ending at the your URL at the end to be the same. And I thought .us would be the OhioAssembly.us, the OregonAssembly.us, to brand us as the 50 state assemblies. That's an idea. That's what I'm thinking that could project to the world of us being one federation. Now let's move on to number 2, the postcard campaign and the tour materials. Now the things that we need for this, which we've started on, is the flyers, which we got some of those, and anybody who want to redesign flyers for other assemblies, that's the person we're asking for here. Graphic artists and designers is what we need to do banners, that the flag, the big poster that I wanted to do, and I showed you all the little pieces of Trump and then the pieces of Jim. Well, I need somebody to design that and lay that out, draw that out. Well, I'm not that either. So we need a graphic artist and graphic designer to do things like that. Then we need somebody to design the billboard. The billboard is going to be the part in the capitulation tour where we demand that they put a billboard in the yard that says, correct your status. That needs to be designed. Next one, public relations, task team 3. Get us, this group is responsible for getting us in the news and writing news. We heard somebody with the radio announcer can get us in the radio. We need some press releases done. We heard somebody can also do the video and film producing, because we want to document everything that we do. By the time we get to our 3-day event, we want to have things that we're going to show that we've been doing all these years to get to that culminating point. We're going to do a documentary that we're going to show on that Friday night that's going to need to have to be produced professionally. And so this is the type of person we need to volunteer for this. Journalists reporting on everything we do, people who like to write the news and report the news. We need journalists to do that. I know that they're doing the national newsletter, which is good. And Nikki is doing that. So that's things like that. A person who can do things like that is what we need to do the journalism. And then on the web TV, that we need the journalists for that to do those news articles. And anybody who are a reporter who want to report the news can do those sections there. But we're not to the web TV yet. This is just the part in phase 1 and 2. The next one is the lawful research and document writing task team. This task team, again, is people who like to write. They're going to be split into 2 groups, a group that writes the position paper, a group that writes the transference of government plan. The position paper is about those topics that I showed you on Mission 2028 page on the website. Let me see if I can go back. The position paper, you'll read about it in the implementation guide. It talks about these topics here that I think as a government and a competent government, we need to be able to intelligibly articulate about these topics as it relates to the American government, as it relates to the United States government. The position paper will do the research on this and talk about that. We need somebody to volunteer for that. And then the second thing that group is going to do is the transference of government plan. We're talking about taking over the responsibilities that we're supposed to be doing away from the the United States subcontractors and taking it over ourselves. And we're talking about demanding that they give us one fell swoop relief for the people, like no taxations and no document titles, recording titles and things like that, no birth registrations. That needs to be articulated in a transitional, I call it a transference of government plan, that this is what we're going to be negotiating on. So, and as well with this particular transference of government plan, like the taxes, this group is going to go back and research the legal codes to show people where it was already written in the codes that you were supposed to have this already. This is part of what they're going to be doing with the position paper and the transference plan. Next one, number 7, the task team number 5, again, split in 2 groups. They're going to be involved with writing up or putting together or compiling the how to build an assembly guide. I know Anna has been working on this, so we want to also help out to see if we can compile some documents from the assemblies, like we talked about the Ohio Assembly had some documents, but of course we need to get permission for that. And well, we need to go out and get the permission we need to get so we can put together a reference guide to stand and seat our counties and to seat the remaining 49, I'm gonna say 49 because Ohio is just about there, to seat all of our states as well. And so I was thinking to have a group dedicated to help Anna get that done so we can have that and get that moving. The other thing that this group will be doing, and I think we need is, and I just called it this, we can call it anything, but the idea is, how do union government operate on the soil in full power and capacity? So how does a county assembly actually operate in its full capacity? Because we're talking about standing up 50 counties. So how do they actually operate? And a lot of times things in the world is going on, and Anna will say, well, the county sheriff needs to do this. Well, we need to know what that is that the county sheriff needs to do and know how to do and tell them what they need to do. So that's what that document is for. I think we need to have one of those put together. And then the last one here, we need volunteers for standing and seating. It's a standing and seating task team. Now, but this task team 10 and task team 11, this one is going to focus more on putting the strategy together. I said a 12-month standing to seating strategy. In my mind, that's my mind. In my mind, it should only take 12 months. That's my mind. If you know what you're doing, right? So if we can put these things together and compile it in a strategic timeline for the counties, for the states that's not seated yet, we can move faster in getting everybody stood up and everybody seated. So this is what this particular group is going to do for those counties that we're going to be focused on, that's in the capital, the city capitals. And then you'll see I also added in those counties that are on the borders, because we need to protect our borders. And I heard Anna say things that those border sheriffs need to do. Well, we need some border sheriffs there in order to do it. So we need to get those county assemblies stood up. And this is the 12-month standing to seating strategy guide and timeline that I need some volunteers to put together that type of guide. That's it. Got 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for some questions.
Woohoo! That was a lot, Luis, but very well laid out. There was a question in the chat. Let's see. Well, first of all, I just want to say, Vicky, beautiful work with the flyers. It's not a surprise. I could see that was your work. It was very well laid out. I love the
Really like that one.
The colors. Yeah, I love that one too. So thank you. Great job. Somebody was asking if we got permission to use the state seal. You want to address that?
The state seal. I need permission for everybody to use this. Well, are we talking about the state seal?
Oh, I'm talking about the
state?
Federation seal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Yes,
She approved the postcard. She approved the brochures that has the seal on them. You see what they look like. Yeah. And she told us in the training call, she said she didn't see a problem with putting the seal on that postcard. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think maybe some you know, shining a light on the fact that because the Peacekeeping Task Force, this project is going under the umbrella of the Peacekeeping Task Force, that's probably why this is a great idea for this project to be under the umbrella of that. So it's just my take. I yield.
Hi, I do have a question. Can you hear me?
Sue, we can't hear you. You're coming in and out.
Okay, my question is the chat.
Oh, we can hear you a little bit now, but probably best you type it in the chat. When you do, I'll read it. Anybody else? I did want to, since, you know, since Sue is typing in the chat, I did want to say that the people so far that I have on the that raised their hand for volunteers, I have Kelly Erickson, Kalina Gibbs, myself, Christina Hill. She's a graphic artist and designer. Nikki Isaacs, Cheryl Perko. She said she'd be willing to be a liaison, and Leanne, a liaison, unless somebody else on her assembly will volunteer, I believe. If there's anybody else, because there was a lot of emails that were shared, and I quickly added you into the think tank contact list, but I did not put you in as a volunteer. So if you specifically want to volunteer, I'm going to ask everybody to just email me. And when you email me that you're interested in volunteering for something specific that Luis went over tonight, if you could email me and then just put specifically what you wanted to volunteer for and what skill sets, if you have a special skill set like a graphic artist or marketing or sales or something to that effect, make sure you put that in, because I'm creating a contact list so that we keep it all organized. Okay, and Jessica, go ahead.
I apologize. I was on mute there for a moment. I do have grassroots experience, unfortunately on the bad side of everything, but I would like to volunteer to do I could do anything from writing to actually door knocking if we have to at necessary.
Okay, so Jessica, what state are you on?
I'm in Louisiana.
Okay. And
I'll tell you, like, as far as door knocking campaigns go, or, you know, leading teams out there, setting up places, I've got experience setting all of that kind of stuff up. So getting out there and getting our birthrights back, you know, I've been spreading the word one person at a time, you know, and it's going really well so far.
Awesome, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Before I let you go there though, can you make sure if you did not put your email address in the chat, could you do that for me, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, and then we have Leanne.
Yes, thank you so much to both of you. This is incredible. And I am so grateful that we're starting to coordinate as states. My question is about when we have these public meetings. Maybe you covered it. I think I might have missed it. What is the meeting going to be like? It's 2 to 5. Are we going to have like a presentation and then like question and answers, or like for 3 hours? I would love to be part of that task force that really like figures out the details of what the public meetings are going to look like. And they might be different for every state, but maybe we want to just make sure that like maybe not make sure, but we could guide every state in making sure that there's very specific, you know, and important information in each one of those meetings. So we're coming across as professional and kind of synced up. So if I could find out what is at those meetings, that would be great.
So that, may I? So that would be, what's going to be at those meetings? The one who writes up the, where is it at?
To me, it sounds like
The
Leanne.
position paper, number 4, task team 6. At the meetings, this position paper is what's on Mission 2028 document of all the different things that the full swoop demands we have, taxes and no birth registrations and no title, all those types of things of what we should have already and what's already written in their codes. That is what should be in the position paper that that can be discussed with the people at the public meetings. That's what we're putting together for the assemblies to be able to discuss it. Of course, they're going to add their own flavor and stuff to it, but we're going to do some research for them to give to everybody so they'll have it available and have it available to talk at those meetings about. That's what that's for.
So if I may interject, do you ladies mind?
Yes.
So it sounds like Leanne is talking, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Leanne. It sounds like she'd be interested in helping to organize, putting together for each state as a guideline as far as what they're going to have readily available, like what you just described, for these events, for these public meetings, so that people know, you know, what they're going to present to the public, and basically organize the event itself. Do I have that correct, Leanne?
Sure. Yeah, that would be good.
Is that kind of what you were going towards?
Yeah, here's my fear. Like, we get there and all of a sudden people start coming in, but yet maybe it's too much for them to handle, like in terms of the information. So we have to read our audience. We don't know where they're at. So it'd be good to, I think, have a few, like have like an overall presentation, maybe of some sort, but then also have different types of handouts. Some people have no clue what's going on. Other people have heard before, but they want deeper things. Like, we would need a whole file cabinet full of stuff to meet people where they're at. And I mean, that is going to be amazing. Minnesota, we need a lot more people. We only have like 300 for our whole state. So we have to get serious about recruiting. And I find that a lot of people who come in, they are just super overwhelmed. They're just like, oh my gosh. And then they step away. I mean, I was one of them. So I think we need some brain power on what's actually going to happen at the meetings so that we, and I can help coordinate that for sure. But I think that is going to be like the most important touch point and success if we can get that down really, really well. So thank you for answering, and this is amazing.
Well, thanks for being here, Leanne. And I just want to say that you were one of those people, but yet here you are today. So bravo to you. I think we all have been there. So Julie's got a question.
Actually, I don't have a question. I just wanted to follow up on the last comment. I'm on Washington, and we have all of our meetings are in person. So we meet, well, there's a meeting happening every week, and they're either county meetings or we have our state general assembly meeting once a month. And I would be happy to maybe just provide some a blush of what we do to give you an idea, maybe as a starting point for, you know, how this might look. So feel free to reach out. Thanks.
We would love that, Julie. In fact, somebody else, I think it was Margaret, on Wyoming, had recommended that you guys really pretty much have nailed down, your introductions, and your meetings, and that it would be great. If you could just, leave your email address in the chat, and I'd love to, reach out to you and get in touch. Okay.
And just to clarify this point, she mentioned the 2 to 5. This Sunday, October 20th, 2 to 5 is just an example. It's not, we're not saying have 3-hour meeting. We was just putting that there to give an example of laying out the flyer. That's all. You can have it as long as you want, of course. Or, you know.
Yeah, you could have it for 2 hours, in other words, and you could have it, you know, from 11 to 1 instead of 2 to 5, right?
AI.
Yeah, go for it.
This is Bart. So I have got my gears. Leanne's question got my gears turning. So we're doing an outreach meeting, a big one coming up probably end of August. But right now I'm writing the presentation that goes along with that. And so we had a good conversation on some of our volunteer meetings, and people were telling me what they thought the presentation should be about, because I have a I have a tendency to overwhelm and just, you know, talk for 2 hours and then people's heads are spinning. And so they thought, well, Bart, there's so many people that are brand new and they have no idea what we're talking about. They're just curious. How can we meet them where they are? And so far, I mean, I'm in the early stages of it, but so far I've divided it out into 3 parts. And of course, I'll be able to tell you how that goes. But the idea was that I would break it off into 3 sections, and each section would be about a half an hour long, which I still think is ambitious. But the first section would be how our American government was created. And I have that pretty much done, but I have 76 slides. You can believe that. And I've been approaching it. It's kind of like it's a writing project, right? So it's very creative, and there's a lot of drafts and deleting things and adding new things. And so I remember someone saying that one of the keys to good speaking is to tell people what you're going to tell them, and then tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. And so what I'm getting creative with on this first, half-hour presentation is I'm going to use Luis, I'm going to use your chart, your modified chart, but I'm going to break it apart so that I thought, oh, I'll put it up on screen. And the more I did it, I put it up on screen. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so much information. I need to hand it to them, right? And then I thought, oh, I'll break it off and I'll revisit it. So what I'm going to do is revisit some of those graphics several times, but I'll build them out over the half hour. But so that's still a work in progress, and I'm probably going to have to reduce it down to maybe 50 slides or 40 slides. But then the second part is what went wrong. And so that's kind of a timeline where I need to do a little more research about all the events that went down. I mean, I've got a rough overview of what went wrong, with the constructive trust fraud, but that's what the second half-hour presentation will be. And so the first one, half an hour, right? Heads are already starting to roll. It's just going to happen. And then we take a 5 to 10 minute coffee break, right? And maybe it's 10 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock is part 2. And then we have lunch. And then part 3 is what are we doing about it? And that's another half an hour. So that's what I've got planned for August. And that was just our Oklahoma assembly, because we're really trying to, this is about, getting new people into the assembly and getting them up to speed as quickly as possible. But I can see how it's pretty closely related to the meeting that you're talking about that'll happen later on. I yield.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead, Luis.
Let me mention this. Let me show it on this one. What's going to be discussions on? Now, this is intentional. At these particular meetings, I'm suggesting that we do discuss these topics right here. The one is international, the public notice itself that we just sent out to get them to this meeting. So follow up with that and go over that with the people. the crimes that was perpetrated. And then to the left, I have, why do you need to declare your political status and correct the public record? You should talk about that. Then to the right, I have, what is the Ohio Assembly and who are American state nationals and American state citizens? So talk about your officers and what your government does and who you are. That should be discussed. And then on the far left and far right, on the left, the role that the county sheriff and the well-regulated militia plays in bringing justice to Americans. This, I picked the county sheriff particularly, of course, we all know why, because they're the ones who's going to lead us off in these capitulation tours. So we need to talk about what role these that they have in the American government. Then on the right, we have the role that the justice of the peace and the county Supreme Courts play in bringing justice to Americans. I picked that specifically because we're standing up our Supreme Courts. Now in American government, our Supreme Courts is on the county. So we need to help people understand the power that the county has and that they need to come together as an assembly to bring their to have their power back in self-governing themselves. So these are particular topics I think need to be discussed in those meetings, along with the other things that I was saying.
We have Marlene Presser. Go ahead, Marlene.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for this fantastic, incredible mission that we're on. I have a couple thoughts on the mission page. The two flags, the peace flag first instead of the other flag. Yes, perfect. That was just a thought. And then the second one thought that I had was on the date for the tour. You have January and February, and that's right in the middle of winter. And if people want to travel to the tour via whatever, we're talking winter time. So those are the only two things that I really have. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff to bring to my own assembly, but right now those are things that I thought that might be want to think about. So I yield. Thank you. It's beautiful. I appreciate all of you.
Awesome. I want to actually piggyback on that. With these flags, the one thing, see, Anna hasn't looked at this yet. So the one thing, questions I even have about this is, can we put the seal in between the two flags? A lot of symbols mean things. So I don't know if we can even do that, or if it means something to have the seal in between two flagpoles. Even to have a gold ball on the top as opposed to a silver ball, because that means something different too. If the military flag should go on the left, if the peace flag should go on the left or the right, I don't know. But I do know, this is one that I did know. The military flag is narrower and longer than the peace flag. So I tried to get that part right. That's what, and I have a hard time even looking at it because I'm a symmetrical person. I'm like, what, that don't look right. Well, that's how it is.
I think that's the Title IV flag, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or
at least the Title IV flag for the United States government. I think we got another one for the American government. You have to look at those granabites because she talked about all them flags. But yeah, that's where I got the idea. Well, I have to make this one narrower and that one wider. That's more of a square. This one's more of a rectangle and that type of thing.
Awesome. Thank you for clearing that up. Now, Fred has a question.
I should comment on the flags to start with. There's 8 of those Title IV styled flags of different sizes and have different purposes. And there's 2 flags in the nature of our peace flag. One of them is the one that's flying here. The other is one that is identical except it's square. This one is more rectangular, and it's specifically used for boats. And that's the extent of my knowledge about the flags. As far as my other comment, this is an amazing presentation. It's really well thought out, and it's got me going. I'm excited about it, even if I'm just standing here watching. But I have a little bit of anxiety myself because this, when something like this hits the dirt, people are going to start the drove situation that Anna has mentioned that should have been happening years ago. But we need some form of initiative to gather recording secretaries. We have a severe shortage of recording secretaries. And I don't know if this is a place to address that, but that's just my.
Whoop, Fred, you muted.
Yeah, I got
Oh, there you go.
finger fast down there. I was about to wrap it up. So it just, my personal anxiety is as fast as this is going to get, we're going to leave a lot of people behind because the recording secretaries have to get these people into whatever assembly we're talking about so they can begin to learn what's going on here.
Thank you.
And Tammy, one other thing about the tours in January and February, that particular time frame was actually for the capitulation tours, not for the assembly tours. Assembly tours, they can schedule that with, it starts in September with the postcard campaign. So it does put them in the winter to start their tours, but they'll decide when they want to start those. But the capitulation tour that starts in the middle of winter, that's for our county sheriffs to start beating the path. It doesn't matter how cold it is out there. We got to get to work.
It's true. Okay, Leanne, go ahead.
Okay. I think your website is amazing. I think that it's easy to read and everything is really well laid out. I would add maybe one thing so that they could educate themselves. And here's my thing. I'm gonna put something in the chat, and it's like a 5-minute video. You don't have to watch it now, but I think it would be helpful to have a tab that says educate yourself or education or something like that. And people are so, I have like a HR and a education background, and I noticed that there's a lot of people who learn differently, but a lot of people learn with short videos, especially now in our society where everything is like a 2-minute TikTok video. I would love to speak to younger kids too, and because I have a 20 and a 22-year-old, and I'm trying to explain to them and give them books and articles. They're not taking it in because it's too long, it's too overwhelming. If we had a site on here that said educate yourself, and it, let's say, has 25 5-minute videos on there, I think we could get to the people who are more visual learners, and they could spread the word easier too, because instead of them having to learn all of it and explain it like we've had to do, they could just say, hey, look at this site. So I don't know, what do you think about that?
I like the idea. We have I have on here the detailed research, but again, this is heavy. The detailed research is really a heavy page, but you're talking about snippets. This is our detailed research page where they can come and learn about a whole lot of stuff, right? And then I got the video down here. This is, if they don't want to read, I picked one of Anna's videos that talked about most of the stuff that's in there, but it's 2 hours long. You know how Anna's videos, but it's a good one.
Well,
so, but what you're talking about is the shorter, the shorter ones. I like that idea. I need somebody to help do that.
Yeah, we need a person who can make little videos, especially like they can be cartoon ones. I put one in the chat as an example. It's called Meet Your Straw Man.
Yeah,
And
I
I
know
showed
that
kids
one.
that, and people get that. They get it. It's 5 minutes, it's short, it's visual. You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that. And I will say, I agree with what you were saying, Leanne, is we're living in an age, society, not even just our kids, but even adults have become accustomed to watching something short. And you know who's really good at those short videos? And she's been doing them on TikTok, is Summer from Florida. She's been doing, she does like 2 to 5 minute, videos, maybe even 1 minute videos. But she's on TikTok. She's known as the Sovereign Mama. So I'll see if I can get in touch with her and see if she's interested in this. And another thing is that I just to kind of confirm what Leanne was saying is that when we interviewed the Idaho Assembly, their co-coordinator was a younger guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but he said that he learned about the assembly. He was driving back with a friend from somewhere and they watched a podcast. So these kinds of things, because people can just watch a podcast on their phone, multitask while they're driving. They could listen to it while they're driving. So I agree. I think that those are all good ideas anyway. If there's anything else that we want to discuss, I think what I'm going to do, if you guys want to, grab that YouTube video that Leanne shared, Meet Your Straw Man, and also Marlene has the uscivilpeaceflag.org. I'm going to continue to make this list. So like I said, if you want to volunteer and help with this project and the things that Luis outlined, shoot me an email with what specifically you would like to work on. And if you didn't tonight already raise your hand, maybe you want to think about it a little bit, or maybe somebody else who watches the playback of this that couldn't make the meeting tonight is interested in it as well. And if there's nothing else that we need to say or talk about, I'd like to I'm gonna look at our phone and then we'll wrap this up. I want to look at the date. I'm gonna guess that how is August 14th? That's going to be the date for our next meeting. If you guys want to jot that down, and I'm gonna guess that those who are going to volunteer for these specific things, Luis, you're wanting them to work with you or work independently or get together a task force in those specific groups, build those, and then we probably will start having maybe separate Zoom meetings to discuss those specific tasks that we're working on, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So as you get the names and get them organized and send them to me, I can lay it out and see who's who and what's what. And I'll contact you directly and get something scheduled with you all per task team. So we can because we'll be working on this in between think tank meetings. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that sums it up, guys. Thank you so much. And, plan on our next think tank meeting, August 14th. I'll have this link. I'll send it out. And also I'll put it up on the Telegram page as well. All right.
All righty. Thank you, Tammy.
Hey, thank you, Louise.
Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
Let's get this done, y'all. Come on.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Good night.
It was awesome. God bless. Peace and love.